I'm Jessica Vaughn, Chair of the Hillsborough County School Board. I want to welcome you to Hillsborough County Public Schools. We serve more than 200,000 students, including children starting with our early learning programs and continuing with adults through our workforce programs.
I'm Karen Perez, the school board's vice chair. Our district is the 7th largest in America, and our team is made up of 24,000 people working at close to 250 sites across the county. Nuestro distrito es el 7º más grande de los Estados Unidos y el 3º más grande del estado de Florida. Nuestro equipo está formado por 24 millones de personas que trabajan en cerca de 250 escuelas en todo el condado.
Our district is diverse and dedicated. Our board meetings are held in our board auditorium on select Tuesdays at 4 p.m. The best way to serve our students and our community is to involve you, the public, in what we do.
You are welcome to meet or email any of our board members and follow our district on social media. School board meetings are covered live by Hillsborough Schools TV on Spectrum 635 and Frontier Channel 32.
Meetings are also streamed live on our website at hillsboroughschools.org. Closed captioning is provided on all broadcasts, and past meetings are available in our online archive.
We are interested in what the public has to say. We'll include time for audience comments before we address our business items. Our agenda and any supporting materials can be viewed online in advance. They are posted 7 days before each meeting on our website at hillsboroughschools.org.
Our vision is preparing students for life, and that means all students every day. Todos los estudiantes, todos los días. Thank you for your interest in education. With your help, we are making decisions that shape our community's future.
Board meeting of March 11th, 2025 is called to order. Member Perez will now lead us in a moment of reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Board Chair. In today's rapid rhythm, the need for mental health support is more crucial than ever. Many people face challenges that may feel unsurpassed, but seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Social workers play a fundamental role in this trip, providing essential services that encourage understanding and healing. Through the community's commitment, they create a safe space for dialogue and support. Its holistic approach not only addresses individual needs, but also empowers communities, encourages resilience and growth. When seeking help, we take the first steps towards a healthier and more satisfying life. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Member Perez, will you now please acknowledge our student entertainment?
Yes, I would like to thank Sergeant Smith Middle School Jazz Band, along with Principal Robert Clee Saddle and Director Cynthia Starling. These wonderful students entertained us prior to the start of our board meeting. And at this time, we would like to invite the students up to introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Jose. I'm in 8th grade and I play trombone.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Gonzalez and I'm in 8th grade and I play trombone.
Hello, my name is Alonzo Jr. I'm in 7th grade and I play trombone.
Hi, my name is Anthony. I'm in 8th grade and I play the trumpet.
My name is Jaden. I'm in 8th grade and I play the trumpet.
My name is Armando and I'm in 7th grade and I play the clarinet.
My name is Bryson Wynn. I'm in 8th grade and I play horn.
My name is Robert. I play the trumpet and I'm in 7th grade.
Hi, my name is Yasmia Gonzalez. I'm in 8th grade and I play the clarinet.
Hello, I'm Aaron Pacheco. I'm in 8th grade and I play the trombone.
Hi, my name is Chloe Pugliese. I'm in the 7th grade and I play the trombone.
Hi, my name is Caden Warren. I'm an 8th grader and I play the trombone.
Hi, my name is Caden Coble. I'm in 7th grade and I play the trombone.
Hi, my name is Hunter Wirtz. I'm in 7th grade and I play percussion.
Hi, I'm Olivia, and I'm in 7th grade. I'm a percussionist.
I'm Beckham. I'm in the 7th grade, and I play the drums.
Hello, my name is Everisa Talvero. I'm in the 8th grade, and I play the piano.
Hello, my name is Brian Mendero. I'm in 7th grade, and I play the bass guitar.
Hello, my name is Max. I'm in 7th grade, and I play the baritone sax.
My name is Leo. I'm in 7th grade, and I play tenor sax.
Hello, my name is Samantha Izagiri. I'm in 8th grade, and I play the alto saxophone.
Hello, my name is Abigail. I'm in 7th grade, and I play alto saxophone.
My name is Gabriel, and I play the alto saxophone in the 8th grade.
My name is Ty. I'm in the 8th grade, and I play tenor saxophone.
My name is Kai Vin. I play the flute, and I'm in the 7th grade.
My name is Ala. I'm in 7th grade, and I'm in TV production.
My name's Hannah Losisser. I'm in 7th grade, and I'm in TV productions.
My name is Zaria, and I'm in 7th grade, and I play TV production.
My name is Arabella. I'm in 8th grade, and I'm in TV production.
And I am Becky Norton, and I teach TV productions.
Hello, my name is Cynthia Starling. I'm the director here at Sergeant Smith Jazz Ensemble, and we just want to say thank you for having us. We appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bob Cleesaddle, principal at Sergeant Smith Middle School. Thank you for having us.
All right, thank you, Member Perez. We have no withdrawn items today. I do need a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Washington. Any discussion? If not, please vote when your lights appear. And the motion passes unanimously. Let the record reflect all board members are present. We have two sets of minutes to be approved today. February 25th, 2025, special called board meeting. February 25th, 2025, school board meeting. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes. I have a motion by Member Perez and a second by Member Gray. Any discussion? If not, please vote when your lights appear. And the motion passes unanimously. Board members, I'd like to go over the format for today's meeting. As a reminder, we are a nonpartisan board who believe that all children can be empowered to learn, to succeed, and our decisions will be made with that understanding. To pave the way for efficient and effective agenda statements or question, board members will have 5 minutes to speak with 30 seconds for final thoughts. Afterwards, the superintendent can respond. If you have further questions, you're asked to get back in the queue. Member Perez will now read the board guidelines.
Thank you, Chair. As we begin this afternoon's meeting, please allow me to quickly review the format of our school board meetings. Please silence all electronic devices. There are speakers in the room behind me that allow board members to hear the meeting upon stepping away from the dais. This meeting can be viewed with closed captioning on the live webcast, on cable TV, and on video monitors here in the auditorium. It can also be viewed with closed captioning on online video archive.
Thank you. We have one item that's scheduled for time certain. That's at 6 p.m. We have employee input. Now I'm going to move on to recognitions. A101, recognition of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Best Crew Award. And at this time, I'd like to call up Jean Tavares. I know I said that wrong. Tavares, Coordinator, Partnership Engagement, Philanthropy, and Outreach.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, board members, superintendent, cabinet members, and guests. The Bucs Best Crew program, supported by our amazing partner, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, recognizing remarkable Hillsborough County Schools teachers, administrators, support staff, and for their outstanding service, overall impact of students, and accomplishments beyond the classroom. We are honored to have Courtney Sanchez, Chief Impact Officer for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, here today to announce this month's award recipients.
Thank you, Jean, and good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for having us. As you all know, every single month, this is such a highlight for our entire organization and for the Glazer family. We're just so honored to be able to join you in recognizing some really outstanding team members. So we're going to start with the winner of our Bucks Best Crew Award for Principal, which is Alexa Traficante from West Chase Elementary School. Ms. Traficante consistently goes above and beyond in supporting not only the teaching staff, but also the support staff, including cafeteria workers, custodial teams, and ensuring that every individual feels valued and appreciated. Her ability to foster collaboration, maintain open communication, and provide professional development opportunities has empowered teachers to thrive and create a positive learning environment for students. What truly sets Ms. Traficante apart is her personal connection with every student and their family. By knowing each parent and student by name, she's built strong relationships and a genuine sense of community. She's created an environment of trust and partnership where parents feel heard and involved in their child's education. Through her dedication, leadership, and commitment to excellence, Ms. Traficante has fostered an inclusive, supportive, and thriving school environment, making her a truly exceptional leader deserving of this award. Congratulations. Can I have your ball and your certificate? And we're going to take a picture. Thanks so much. All right. Next up is Linda Taylor from Gaither High School. Linda is a pillar in the special education community at Hillsborough County Public Schools. She is continually advocating, protecting, and supporting her students even beyond the four walls of the school building. For the last decade, Ms. Taylor has also hosted the Gaither Stampede, a Special Olympics event where special needs athletes from around Hillsborough County come to participate in sporting events. She coordinates with schools, teachers, businesses, and the greater community every year to put on this beautiful event, all while maintaining so much love and positivity in the classroom. One staff member called her a superhero and an idol for those around her. Ms. Taylor is retiring this year, and so we're honored to give her this award in her final year. Unfortunately, she's unable to attend, so we have Gaither's assistant principal, Dr. Kim Ferroli, accepting on her behalf. I have the certificate for you. All right, and our final Bucks Best Crew winner is Eva Milan from Buchanan Middle School. This is for the support staff award. Eva has been described as all the things you want in a secretary and more. She truly keeps the school moving, balancing countless tasks with grace and efficiency. Her positive attitude, unwavering professionalism, and ability to anticipate needs before they arise make her an invaluable asset to our school community. Eva's dedication to supporting staff, students, and families creates a welcoming and productive environment every single day. She embodies excellence in every way, and her work is not just a job, but a mission to make our school the best it can be. Eva was also not able to attend, but I do have to make a quick shout out that Buchanan Middle School is also home to the Buccaneers, so go Bucks. But we will make sure that we get her ball and certificate to her. So thank you all so much and congratulations again.
Thank you so much and congratulations again. We will now move on to A102, recognition of National Social Work Month for March. Member Perez will highlight this recognition.
And it's such an honor for me to recognize my fellow social workers this month. March is recognized as National Social Workers Month, a time to celebrate and recognize the vital contributions of social workers to society. This month is designated to encourage public support for the profession and to highlight the importance of social workers and to highlight the important work social workers do in various settings, including schools. March 2nd through 8th was National School Social Work Week, an opportunity for our schools, communities, and partners to acknowledge and recognize the impactful work that they do to support students, families, and their communities. School social workers serve as a vital member of school's education team. They are exceptionally skilled in providing services to students who face serious challenges to school success, including disability, poverty, discrimination, abuse, neglect, mental illness, and bullying. Hillsborough County currently has 250 social workers. During this month, school social workers will be celebrated with a professional development lunch and learn, where they will be recognized for their impact on students and families. They will also participate in the Florida Association of School Social Work Conference. We also want to thank the schools for what they are doing to show their school social workers their love and appreciation.
Thank you. The board welcomes comments from citizens and values your input to the board. In order to provide the most comprehensive response to your comments, our staff will follow up with you and keep our board informed about the responses. Our school board respects the public's right to speak at the school board meetings, and we appreciate you taking your time to be here. However, it is requested that when you address the board, comments are not directed personally against a board member or staff member, but rather directed at the issues. Any behavior intended to interrupt the orderly conduct of this meeting will not be allowed. Our civility policy is in place. When addressing the board, please state your name and speak clearly into the microphone. This afternoon, each speaker will have 3 minutes. Reminder, your 3 minutes start when you begin speaking. When there are 30 seconds left, you'll see a yellow light on the lectern. A red light will chime and indicate when your time is up. I'll now call up the first 5 speakers, please.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Jonathan Casanas, and as you'll soon find, I'm one of several music teachers at our Kenneth E. Adom Magnet School. And I'm here to introduce to you a very exciting group of students who make up our Music Ambassadors program, or MAP for short. You know, there's a certain phrase that I like to say in our music classroom. Actually, I say it quite often, and it's a phrase that I hope, to put out there as a seed that'll germinate the minds of our students, that they can take hold and maybe place root in them. And it's a saying, it's a phrase. And I say it quite often, and usually I'm hesitant that they're ever going to pick up on it. But the truth is, I'm here today because the seed has been planted. And that seed is this phrase. It's a simple one. It's don't just be good for something. And the truth is that our students have heard that call. They've heard that call, not to excellence, but to action, to do something in their community. And that's what they're here to do today. They're here today to tell you about their mission to improve access to music educational programming for our students across the Tampa Bay area, and more specifically here in Hillsborough County Public Schools. And I'm going to tell you some exciting things that they've already done because they're a pretty humble group. Well, most of them are. I can think of a few. But they've done some amazing things. For starters, they've met as a team to establish their mission objectives, their goals, their initiatives, what they want to accomplish. Soon after they've organized themselves, they reached out to other local nonprofit agencies who align with their mission, and they made contact. And in that way, we've been presented with a number of opportunities for them to advocate on behalf of other students. And now we're in the process of forming some really exciting partnerships with the Florida Orchestra and the Gasparilla Music Foundation. Each of our music ambassadors is a student who's passionate about this kind of access to the kind of programming that they've come to enjoy. They believe that their unique and personal experiences in the music classroom isn't just a privilege or a luxury, but should be a rite of passage for all students in our district. For our ambassadors, participating in this art and joy of music making isn't just good, it's good for something. Because you see, when you have excellent music programs that have all students at the center, what you get are not just better, highly skilled musicians. You get better people. You get better people who are able to think more cognitively and more critically. You get people with higher levels of empathy and respect for one another. You get people who know how to communicate more effectively with anyone that crosses their path. In essence, you have people who are more grounded, more connected to those other people in their community and who know how to listen before responding. I'm here today to tell you about these kids and what they're trying to do, and I hope that you hear from them what is important to them in our music educational program and how they hope to make a difference every day that they are a music student. And they're here to advocate for your continual support of our district's music programming and to give that testimony to you. On behalf of our incredibly supportive school, ADEM, the HCPS music teacher community at large, thank you, board members, and thank you, Superintendent Ayers, because you, like them, have heard the call to action, and there is no better place to be a music student or a music teacher, and that's thanks to you all. So thank you. With that, I'll let our students do their thing.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Rainey and I'm in the 5th grade at Kenneth E. Adem. The first thing I do when I get home from school is drop off my backpack and play on my piano. Music is the only language everyone speaks. Music is what makes everyone happy. It connects people from different backgrounds. While every student has some sort of music program in their schools, not all music programs get the same support. We need to be fair and give everyone the same opportunities that will help them thrive and find their voice. Edom is very fortunate to have a well-developed music program, so the next step is to help other music programs. That's why MAP would love your support, so not just you and me have music, but everyone. We can work together and make sure every student has a chance at music. Imagine a life with only a little music in school. Now imagine a life filled with music in school, everywhere. Which would you prefer? I know what I would prefer. I would take the great option over the on-level option any day. If we work together, we can turn satisfactory into wonderful.
Thank you. Nice. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Annie and I'm a 5th grader at Kenneth E. Adem K-8 school. I have played cello for a little under a year. When I started Adem, my mom signed me up for orchestra club even though I didn't play any instruments except for a little bit of piano. But at least my best friend signed up too. On the first day of my club, I did not know how to play or even the names of the strings. But I practiced a lot and now I can play pretty well. Now that I play cello, I feel like I have more people to connect with and have fun with. Even out of the music classroom, I feel like wherever I go, I have something that I connect with the people around me. If I didn't start orchestra club and start playing cello, I would feel like my day is not complete and that I don't have anything to connect with other people. That's why I think everyone should have the chance to experience music. I'm not just here to talk about how music helped me or how it helps other kids. I'm here to talk about how music can help everyone and make the world a better place. I'm very thankful for how the school district has supported music programs, and I ask that the school district keep supporting music programs. Together, we can help more students find their voice in music.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Juan Tallado. I teach elementary music at Kenneth E. Adem. This is my 6th year teaching music, and it's quickly becoming my favorite. I'm fortunate that I get to teach music to incredible students alongside the best music teachers, faculty, and community that I've had the pleasure of working with. Music has influenced me from my early years, from learning how to play bomba y plena in Puerto Rico to playing in the marching band at Hillsborough High School and in college, Go Bulls. That taught me leadership skills, building lifelong bonds, how to enrich my physical and my mental fortitude, and getting cultural as well as a personal appreciation for the art. I hope to pass this on to my students. Children are capable of amazing musicianship. In our classroom, students get to experience many aspects of music. They get to dance, sing, they get to play instruments, analyze music, and even learn about the legal processes and the business side of music. Our students get to write their own songs and even learn how to use music production to create their own songs and music. One of my goals as an educator is to ensure that students leave my classroom with the knowledge to succeed in all aspects of music in the future, whether that be just as a normal consumer or in a professional sense. None of this is possible without your consistent support for music education in our schools. None of that is possible without support from parents, teachers, administrators, the community, and our amazing supervisor, Tracy Lissy. Your support does not go unnoticed. You have ensured that the music teachers in our schools are the best music educators in the state, and that they have all the instruments and support that they need to be able to bring out the best in the students. As we look into the future, please remember the importance of music in our schools and the potential that it grows in our students. Thank you for your continued support.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Bobby Wade, and I'm in 5th grade, and I go to Kenneth E. Adom Pre-K through 8 in Tampa, Florida. MAP has taught me how to help out my community by trying to get music to all schools. That is what I'm doing right now. I'm in wood drumming at first. At first, I didn't like it, but now I do. I like how we play different songs every week and then combine them into one big song. I think every school should have up-to-date music instruments, so every kid gets a fair chance to achieve their music dreams. That's what they did at Adom. My performances on stage helped me with a lot of things like public speaking, hard work, determination, and staying focused. And I think every kid should be able to have that opportunity and chance of performing on stage. We are asking you for your help to bring music to all kids in Hillsborough County. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Mary Rose Walsh. I'm a student in 3rd grade at Adom K through 8 in the music program MAP, Music Ambassadors Program. I have had an experience with music when I was playing a hard song on piano and I was not doing well, but my teacher said I just needed to try a little bit harder. I have not finished this song, but I am doing as best as I can because I tried harder, and I have finished the hard parts in the song. Even though you might not be good at music, you just need to believe in yourself even though you're not doing so well, and that will make a difference. I am asking you to donate instruments so kids who cannot afford instruments can learn how to play music, and so you can too. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Sienna Stoddard. I'm from Adom Pre-K through 8, and I'm in 5th grade. I'm part of the Music Ambassadors Program. Earlier this year, I was accepted into YSS, or Young Songwriters Symposium, with one of my best friends. We had a lot of fun together and worked together, recorded our songs, and performed them. But we also connected with other singers from other schools. Because of our love for music, we cheered for each other. I also became more confident and found a way to express myself. This confidence helped me when I wrote my Tropicana speech and would help me in the future, like speeches for work or helping my community. And expressing myself made me feel less stressed and more excited for future things. Music could help other students in these ways and other ways too, like discovering a passion. This means there should be more music opportunities for more students who want to gain their confidence and find their passion. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Madeline Tarano, and I am in 5th grade at Adom K through 8 school.
Music has been a big part of my life since I was 5 years old when I attended a musical summer camp and had the chance to play Olaf in Frozen the musical. From that moment on, I fell in love with music and musical theater. Music has taught me so much about hardworking, dedication, persistence, self-expression, and balance. I believe that all these qualities that every student, no matter what their age, should develop in order to succeed in school and beyond. One of the biggest lessons music has taught me is dedication. To succeed in music, you have to put in the effort, practice, learn lines, and memorize lyrics. It also encourages self-expression. Whenever I'm feeling joyful or facing challenges, music gives me a way to process and express my emotions in a healthy way. Beyond personal growth, music also helps build social skills. If it weren't for music, I don't think I would dare to speak in front of the audience, let alone an entire school board. It has given me the confidence and a voice I never knew I had. There are countless ways music benefits students of all ages, and I could talk for hours about how it shaped my life and positively impact the people in my community and those who are closest to my hearts. But for now, I just want to say thank you for listening, and I hope you continue to support music education so that other students can have the same joy and growth that I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Back to follow. Well, at ADEM, we believe that we're going to lead by example. And so, good afternoon. My name is Dawson Worley, and I am one of the elementary music teachers at ADEM K-8. And today, I want to talk to you guys about what I believe, what I know is true, and that is I have the best job in the world. For the past 4 years, I've had the privilege of bringing joy and positivity to students in Hillsborough County through the power of music. I have witnessed firsthand the profound impact that music and the arts have on young minds. There is nothing quite like seeing a once shy student light up on stage, or experiencing the pure joy of watching students come together for the first time and create something beautiful through music. In our profession, we plant seeds of self-expression, nurturing students as they grow to become confident, creative, and compassionate individuals. And today, as these remarkable students have stood before you advocating for their passion, they are living proof of that impact, and it is an honor to stand with them. In addition to my role in elementary education, I have also spent the past 6 years as the color guard and dance coach at Steinbrenner High School. In this role, I've had the privilege of witnessing what happens when those early seeds of artistic expression are given the opportunity to flourish. As students refine their craft and master the techniques of performance, they develop not only as artists, but as individuals. At every level, music and the arts provide a vital outlet for students to find their voice, to connect with a community of like-minded peers, and pursue passion that can shape their lives in powerful, transformative ways. I share all of this knowing that I am speaking to a room full of individuals who understand and appreciate the value of the arts. I feel incredibly fortunate to have begun my career here in this district and its priority of arts education and how you actively support the growth of music in our schools. Your presence at events like our Fine Arts Festival, which is happening tomorrow, we'll see you all there, and your advocacy behind the scenes make a meaningful difference. And because of your dedication, music and arts in our schools is not just surviving, but thriving. Thank you for your continued investment in our students and for recognizing the importance of arts education and for your commitment to nurturing the whole child. Your support ensures that the power of music and the arts remain an integral part of our students' educational journey here in Hillsborough County. Thank you.
Thank you. And to our student speakers, we love to hear you speak, so come anytime. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Alan Brewster, good evening, board members, superintendent. Once again, I'm going to say this. I don't come here to blow smoke up anybody's chimney here. I just had to go to Gaither High School about an incident with my son and the athletic coach and a teacher. And I've been coming to this board regularly advocating for change at Gaither High School. The coach stated he put my son off the team because allegedly he lied to his face about a schedule. But when the assistant principal talked to my son about what happened, the assistant principal determined that he was telling the truth and sent him back to class. And a teacher called saying your son is getting ISS and he's getting it for the rest of the week. So my wife was like, where's the paperwork? Send the paperwork home. And come to find out that this teacher doesn't even have the authority to call us and tell us this. And when we had a meeting with those two coaches and the principal, 5 minutes within the meeting, the principal darted out of there. And then the teacher got very belligerent with us because I asked them to recap what happened. Well, your son needs to be punished. For what? Is this prison? Or is this the Institute for Learning? He's no different than any other teenager. Teenagers are gonna lie. They're gonna do what teenagers do. I asked the coach to show me the rules and policies for disciplining an athlete, right? You know what he told me? There isn't one. He told me it was a judgment call. A judgment call means that's your own personal feelings. Once again, there needs to be a serious change at Gaither High School. So now my son dreams has been taken away from this Caucasian male. Because now my son know that if I try to go back to play football, he ain't gonna be fair. So once again, where the district people, where they at? There needs to be a change at Gaither High School. Seriously. I don't care how many times y'all go there. When y'all go there, the floor gonna be shining and the brass gonna be polished. I got inside information.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Tina Williams Brewster. I'm here today to talk about communication and what that really means. We say we're an institution of education, we're training our students for the future. I'm here to talk about what that looks like, or the lack of that looking like, when we have a breakdown in communication. We have these steps and systems that if there's an issue in the school we're supposed to follow. What happens when that communication is broken? What happens? For instance, I'll give you an example. Hillsborough County Public Schools has a no bully tolerance. However, teachers, admin, coaches, they bully. What's the communication process for that? How long is the turnaround? Hillsborough County Superintendent Ayers, you've met with me. I urge you, board members, we've got to make a change. Some of these principals, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means your leadership skills need to be fine-tuned. This is communication. If you're a principal, you need to know how to solve conflict, not run from it. You're going to encounter issues. We've come to this board, it'll be 10 years. 10 years. I have 6 children. I've encountered communication issues at every single school for 10 years. You guys know me. You don't have to like me. Quite frankly, some of you all I don't like. We don't have to agree, but we do have to communicate. There used to be a time where I could call your office and I could get someone to call back. You call, we play phone tag. Communication is reciprocal, not just parents. We just don't come here to blow smoke, as my husband said. We come here with viable solutions. I'm going to piggyback. I wasn't even going to talk about the incident at Gaither, but my husband being who he is, I've got to, that's my man, and I'm going to support him. We have been coming here telling you about the lack. We've offered viable solutions. When are you going to listen? Oh, I know. It's not your child. As my grandmother used to say, when it's in my house, it's a matter of gossip. When it's in your house, it's a matter of prayer. So you all don't experience the same issues that parents and students feel. You get the Blarney Stone, you get the blush political view of Gaither High School. But there are things going on, not just at Gaither, Blake, all the schools. Communication is key. Right information. Let's do better. You all have been talking. It's time out. Do better.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is John Green. I've been here a couple times speaking on the issue of what's going on at Gary Adult School with the NAACP. And I just want to put the community, let the community know and put it on notice that I'm making them aware of what's going on with this issue with the NAACP. It's not harming anybody. It's just bringing awareness to the board as well as to the community. You heard what these people, what these two parents just got finished talking about. This is the purpose of having an agency who can advocate for the people. But what you're looking at right now is your document from your attorney with the first violation from the NAACP that you put them on notice about. And I have an asterisk by the particular paragraph that I wanted you to pay attention to, right? That's the first notice. On the second page, we're going to go to 8. Subsection 8, and it's about the sublease, about not having any organization on that property leasing or doing anything without the permission of the school board. And on number 10, it specifically talks about the insurance policy that's supposed to be held while on that property, right? And if it's not an insurance, if the insurance has lapsed, that's another violation, I would think, right? And it would be noticed and it would be caught. Now, based upon your information that you sent through public requests about the insurance document on the third page, you will see that there was a lapse in the insurance. It's highlighted for you. The insurance was there, but it wasn't issued until 3 months later. Now, you heard the kids come up here and spoke. You hear parents complaining. We have an advocacy, a group who can advocate for these people in the community. Meanwhile, the hands are still tied. Mr. Superintendent, how far do you want this to go? You can make this policy. We don't have to amend it. We don't have to do anything. They can be an advocate for these people in the community. This is a perfect example that's being displayed right before your face live, right? So this is only to make the community and this board aware that this has to stop. We need this in these moments right now. We need people, we need leadership, true leadership to step up for our community. That's what we need. Problems after problems. How long do we have to beg, or do I have to keep coming down here, getting threats and getting notices to be quiet? Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Bishop Michelle B. Patty. I'd like to read for you a media release NAACP Florida State Conference has issued urgent call for vigilance following gunfire at NAACP Fort Lauderdale branch, Florida, January 30th, 2025. The NAACP Florida State Conference of Branches is deeply concerned by the recent incident in which bullets struck the NAACP Fort Lauderdale branch office. With the investigation is ongoing, this event served as a grave reminder of the potential threat faced by our branches and members across the state. In light of this disturbing development, we are encouraging all Florida NAACP branches to remain vigilant, cautious, and alert at all times. The safety and security of our members, volunteers, and staff must be a top priority. We encourage all branches to take the following precaution. We are in direct with the contact with NAACP Fort Lauderdale branch leadership, and we are monitoring law enforcement officials. We remain steadfast in our commitment to justice and will not be intimidated. Let this moment strengthen our resolve to continue to fight for civil rights, equality, and the safety of community. Now, here we see that and in 2022, Yvette Lewis, the president of the NAACP, made a call to the Tampa Police Department saying that there was a bomb threat out at this facility. Right then, they should have been taken off of that property. Now we see in 2025 that bullets have struck an office. Now, did she give you all the paperwork? Do y'all know that this took place? Because this was supposed to be released to you all. If she did not, that's a serious problem. If she did, then it's a serious problem that you all did not allow the community, our parents, our people, our students that attend that Gary Adult campus. Yes, it's an adult facility, but they're under your leadership, they're under your protection, and they are supposed to have security. They're supposed to feel safe on this campus. And we see that this has actually taken place to hurt our children. Now, I don't know if it's because we're black and you don't care about our well-being. We're black and you don't care whether they are shot up or if a bomb is out there. But there is also another group that are out there, and that's the special adults. A special adult program. So did anybody send anything to their parents? And we don't need to keep giving these abusers another chance to violate this contract. You've already warned them. They keep doing it, and they should not be rewarded by giving them an amendment to this contract. There should not be an amendment. It should be a move out date for them to leave this premise so our community can be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Julie Gebhardt, and I do want to issue an explicit content warning. What I'm reading is horrible. The book American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis is a book I brought to the school board on June 18th last year. This would probably still contend to be the worst book I have ever seen on Hillsborough County Library shelves. There were 6 copies in high schools at the time. I read to you some of the most vile descriptions about a psychopathic rape, murder, and torture scene, which I will read to you again now. I make the two of them eat each other out, but it starts failing to turn me on. This is a threesome. I'm biting hard, gnawing at Tiffany's cunt, and finally she screams as my teeth rip into her flesh. She screams when I look up at Tori, blood covering my face, meat, and pubic hair hanging from my mouth. Tiffany watches. Finally, I saw the entire head off, torrents of blood splash against the walls, even the ceiling. And holding the head up like a prize, I take my cock, purple with stiffness, and lowering Tori's head into my lap, I push it into her bloodied mouth and start effing it until I come exploding into it. I spread her ass cheeks. I nail a dildo that I've tied to a board deep into her rectum. Using the nail gun, I cut all the flesh off all around her mouth. I'm done. Here we are, squirming all over again. This is absolutely horrific, embarrassing, shameful, you name it. The presence of this book is not what I'm here to talk about today. It's the proliferation of this book in our school libraries. This book situation is getting worse. It's now in 9 elementary schools. Citrus Park, Sessoms, Alexander, Mort, Nelson, Schmidt, Trapnell, Seffner, and Ruskin. Who is making these decisions? There's broken and pernicious ideology saying yes to this material for the most vulnerable children, 5 to 11 years old. They're learning words like cock, cunt, fag, faggot, the N-word that I won't say, the F-word 188 times, pussy, tit. I can't even fathom. 9 elementary schools. Your silence has supported this. You support this, minus 2 of you. Superintendent, you actually have the authority to fix this, but you don't. I don't know where your courage is, but it's gone. What about your conscience? How do these books serve in preparing students for life? I contend that if an elementary school picks this book up, you will have ruined a student for life. I actually watched a new video that was released about a little girl named Megan who was 14 years old when she was introduced to a book by a teacher that led her down a path, a very dark path. She's the sweetest, most soft-spoken little girl, and she talks about how this ruined her. It landed her in juvie for a season because she started pursuing these types of relationships online, and she ended up talking with pedophiles and you name it. So,
Thank you. That concludes public comment. I'll now move on to the consent agenda. I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. I have a motion by Member Perez and a second by Member Gray. Please vote when your lights appear. And the consent agenda has been approved unanimously. I will now move on so that the following items will be heard. C101, C201, C202, C301, C401, C502, C704, C705, C706, C1001, and C1102. The first one is 101, Agreement with Atlantis Educational Services, Inc. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So our first agenda item, 101, this Hillsborough County Public Schools was awarded a Florida Department of Education Computer Science Teacher Certification Grant. So this particular board item funds materials and professional learning for teachers in the areas of robotics, computer science, data probes, and sensors. So again, this is a grant received by HCPS. And any questions regarding this, we do have Dr. Catherine White, who's our supervisor, K-12 STEM, and of course, Debbie Pepe is also here. Any questions regarding item 101? Madam Chair, that's 101.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve C101. I have a motion by Member Washington and a second by Member Combs. Member Rendon, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And let me apologize to my fellow board member for she's pulling so many comments today. I found it to be a very critical time right now in our district, and I wanted to take the time so that my entire board could hear my feelings about many of the different subjects we'll be talking about today. Although I do believe this grant is very important and it's a very good training tool, however, it does spark an issue of what we're doing with our teachers, what we're doing with our support staff, and how we're providing training across the board. As I look over the different units and the allocations to all of our schools over the course of this week, we only have 5 schools that gained any allocation in numbers for any of our staff. That means we do not have any staff within each of our schools to provide additional supports or additional training to any of our new students, our new staff, as we had a shortage of teachers, as we would all on this board agree, that is an important, vital role in many of our schools having shortage of certified teachers. And as we get more of those teachers in the classrooms, we have a need for more options for training for those teachers. And although I appreciate this one particular grant, I'm going to take the opportunity today, every single time I have an opportunity with an agenda item pulled, to talk about the needs of our individual schools and our individual staff and what they need the support from this district to look at right now. And in this particular case, I do approve and I will approve this particular item based upon the fact that it isn't a grant that will expire at the end of the year. However, I'm going to appeal to superintendent and to all of the staff to find other ways that we're going to provide that extra support and extra staff within our schools to support all of our new teachers. All of our teachers that are struggling with classroom management, struggling with introduction of new curriculum. Every single time I look at any of these needs, we say once and again, look to the schools, look to the administration. And yet we limit that administration by the units we provide them. First of all, I find that completely insulting that we call them units. They're staff. They're the people that run this district every single day on the backs of us. They are the ones that are in the trenches every single day. They are the ones that are meeting with our students and meeting the needs of our students, and we have the audacity to call them units. I find it insulting, and I think we need to change the criteria in which what we call our staff. We want to know why staff are walking away. They're walking away because they're not supported, and they're not provided the support they need to maintain their classrooms every single day. And we are perpetuating that with an archaic system that provides a principal with the numbers of staff that they can use. And I'll give you one school right now, Valrico Elementary. They did not lose or gain one individual staff. However, there are 1 to 25 for elementary school 5th grade and 1 to 23. That's appalling. Those are the big benchmarks that we determine whether graduates are going to change, and it's a 1 to 23 ratio. And so I'm going to take advantage of every single one of these options that I've pulled, and we're going to talk about the fact that we need to pay attention to what we're doing in our schools. And we need to change. If we want the outcomes to change in this district, then we need to change what we're doing. And we're not. We're going back to the same way we've been doing them year after year after year, in which we're giving a school a number of units and saying, work with that. And then we provide them with an assessment that they're supposed to analyze their data and work with the units they have to make it work. Once again, we're throwing one more thing at a school to handle. And we want them to do every single thing. We want the principal, the APs, we want the staff to do every single thing. Well, I say until we eliminate staff in this building, we eliminate no units from a single school. In fact, we figure out what we need to add to the school to make it more successful. That's our responsibility, to give every single school the units they need to do what they need to do to bring it to the level they need to do it to. And the other thing is, I'll go to another thing because I just get more and more angry about this. But the bottom line is we have got to put staff, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a para, whether it's an administrative staff, they have to be the first priority. And this week, I am embarrassed that they had to come into this building and defend what they need in their classrooms. They didn't do it with you, superintendent. And sometimes they had to have a regional superintendent do it for them. And I think that is appalling to put them in the position to defend what they need for their students.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Any other questions or comments? If not, please vote when your lights appear. And the motion passes unanimously. We'll now move on to 201, approve grant applications for the Department of Career, Technical, and Adult Education. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the Florida Department of Education, Division of Career and Adult Education, requires school districts to submit proposals in a consolidated format for annual entitlement grants. HCPS and our Career Technical is requesting approval to submit its 25-26 grant projects. Again, these are the projects for the grants that we will seek approval for. And we do have our CTE team here, Mr. Scott Brooks, Mr. Chris Jargo here. Any questions regarding the applications that are going out to FLDOE?
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve C201. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Perez. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry, I'm going to be a broken record today, and I'm going to do it over and over again until somebody listens. Of the 5 schools that were actually gained units, Frost, Brandon, Armwood, Steinbrenner, and by the way, Steinbrenner was a .34. How does a person become a .34? Because it's a mathematical calculation and it's not about the needs of a school. Again, how do we even put that? Brandon, 2.64. Armwood, 3.35. It doesn't even make logical sense that we are putting individuals in a mathematical calculation. Yet when I speak to some of these teachers, these principals and about these schools, some of the things that were very apparent is in order for them to become even, they made a deal where they took an opening in a position and they eliminated it. And they doubled up on classrooms so they didn't have to come in here and argue with our staff to get the number of staff they need. They doubled up a classroom in a high school for a high school graduation in order for them to eliminate an opening that they could not fill. That hurts everybody. That hurts everybody when we're not accurate to the number of openings we have in this district. And that's because our staff are put in a position where they have to defend every single staff they have in their building. And I find that to be just unconscionable. Unconscionable that this is the thing. We've had schools that have 6, 5, 3 units that are pulled. That's staff that are pulled out of those schools, out of in front of students. And so I ask this public, I ask this board to come behind me and ask, what are we doing to ask the schools what they need first? Sit down with a school, find out what they need. Are they having trouble with behaviors? Do they need a behavior tech? Are they having trouble with attendance? What can we do to support? Are their reading grades lagging? Do we need an additional reading coach? What do they need first? And then build the staff they need around the needs of the students in those schools. But instead, we take the number of students enrolled and we provide them with a number that they're allowed and tell them to work with it. Completely unexcusable. It is just absolutely appalling to me that we have yet to sit down and talk with a school and find out what they need. How does that school look? What does that community look like within their school? Where are they having difficulty with? Is it freshmen? Is it third grade? Is it first grade? We don't do any of that. We give them a calculation and say, you work with that. You do what you need to do with that. And by the way, they then have to turn around and you know who they have to defend it to? To our finance department, who has never stepped foot in the classroom, who has never stepped foot and had to control a classroom or had to teach a lesson. Why did we do that? Why didn't we meet with them first? Why didn't we have the first conversation of what they need? And then why don't we as the leadership go to a county and say, how can we make it work? We have to make a change in what we're doing.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Any other questions or concerns? If not, please vote when your lights appear. And the motion passes unanimously with Member Hahn being away. Pablo, can you reset that so we can capture Dr. Hahn's vote, please? No worries. Please vote when your lights appear. You're welcome. All right, and the motion passes unanimously. We'll now move on to 202, accept the lowest responsive responsible bid from TB Electronics. Superintendent Ayer will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this invitation to bid will establish a vendor for repair services, replacement parts, and equipment for residential appliances that are used in our CTE residential kitchen facilities and possibly other types of rooms within our school system. The selected vendor is TB Electronics, LLC, and they will be responsible for providing repair services, maintenance, and where applicable, replacement parts and equipment for a variety of residential appliances. And that is 202, and Chris Jargo, Director, CT Career and Technical Education, is here if you have any questions regarding 202.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve C202. I have a motion by Member Combs and a second by Member Gray. Member Rendon?
Sorry, Mr. Jargo, that you guys have to come here. Oh, I'm back on. Sorry. But I feel very compelled to make sure our students are protected in there. So I'm going to continue talking because it's the only opportunity I have to speak in front of my board members about issues that are of concern that I think they should be aware of and make sure they're there. So I'm going to take full advantage of my 5 minutes for every single item. When I asked why our district does not bring staff in to actually talk with them first about the needs of their schools, I was actually told they did. I was actually told they have a comprehensive needs assessment and they utilize that comprehensive need assessment to come up with the number of staff they have in the school. But that's not exactly true. What they do is they complete this needs assessment and it's based upon the data. It's based upon academic data, attendance data, and behavioral data. And yet when you turn around and you look at examples of exactly what's supposed to happen with the focus and the action plan from this comprehensive assessment, it is all based upon what the principal and the administration of the school is supposed to do to address this data, not the number of staff that are located within the school to support the data. It's actually put all the work put back onto the administration of the school that is already there. So if it's student engagement, instructional leadership team will use to take time out for the particular situation, instructional coaches and professional development, parent involvement, all of which goes back to teachers and administrative staff, instructional coaches, school leadership team. Nothing on these needs assessments talk about what is needed in the school. It talks about how the school is going to address their own needs. Nowhere in this needs assessment does it talk about how the district is going to support the school, how the district is going to provide additional supports to the school for its needs. I just cannot understand. I've never been in a business where the first thing we talk about is numbers, here's what you have. Every time I sit down with an individual with a disability for my entire life and I see the services they need, the very first person we talk to is the person. What do they need to achieve the outcomes I expect or we expect of them? But we don't do that. We say, you've got this many numbers in a school and we're going to give you this and you can create the outcomes. I don't know if that outcome is going to work in that school or not, but that's all we're going to give you. We're not going to hear what you have to say to balance those outcomes. And I've got to say it over and over and over again that we absolutely have to sit down with our principals and our administration and find out what the needs of that school are, and we build a staff around it. And that has to be the priority of this district. You know I've heard many times, whether it's board members or staff, that say they're going other places, they're going to charter schools, they're going to private schools. They don't have administrative staffs that go up the chain. They've got an administrative staff at that school, and the focus of that school is what it needs to be. They don't have layers and layers and layers, because the focus is the funding continues at the school. But we take the funding that is meant for the school and we support everybody else. When are we going to support the school and the students in that school first?
Thank you, Member Rendon. Any more questions or comments? If not, please vote when your lights appear. And the motion passes unanimously. We will now move on to 301, invitation to bid, tactile graphics embossers for Florida Instructional Materials Center for the visually impaired. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As board members, you're aware, FIMC is a flow-through for the school district. So this invitation to bid will be used to purchase 29 View Plus or Rogue tactile graphics embossers with 4-year extended warranties for each device. These embossers will be used to support the participation of districts statewide in accessible computer-based testing pilots for students who use Braille. These pilots are being developed and launched by collaboration between FIMC, the Florida Department of Education Bureau of K-12 Student Assessment, and American Printing House for the Blind and Cambium Assessment. Currently, students who use Braille are unable to participate in any statewide computer-based assessments, of course, FAST, Best Writing, FCLE, EOCs, etc. These embossers will help evaluate the process for using Braille technology to access the secure browser test platform and test items. And again, we're a flow-through for FIMC, so these are our dollars that flow through us. FIMC, runs for the state of Florida, but Hillsborough County is the hub of those dollars for the state.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve C301. I have a motion by Member Washington and a second by Member Perez. Member Rendon, you pulled this item. Do you have a question or a comment?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think this issue is probably one of the things that may upset me the most. We actually have 2 staff in our district that write and rewrite every single piece of our materials except for our now academic books and our curriculum. They actually take any extra materials, any pieces within the teachers for extra curriculum, and they actually rewrite into Braille. These 2 staff are working an average of 20 to 30 hours a week of overtime to keep up with the 37 students in our district that are visually impaired. But yet we're not willing to hire 2 new staff that we're really already paying for in order to make sure these students get the necessary materials they need on time. Instead, we're overworking the 2 staff we actually have. Again, where is the justification in that? Because we're pulling a unit. It's a need of our district, but we don't solve the problems of our district for our children. 37 students may not mean a lot to anybody, but if you think of every single paper, every single one of those 37 students get every single year, that's a lot to translate. And so we need to take a look at how we're utilizing our funds and making sure they're meeting student needs first. The other thing is, when we look at our ESC specialist, we have 30 schools right now that are about to lose either a half or a full unit of ESC specialist. Only 7 schools right now are gaining any type of ESC specialist. In a district where we are 60% of our staff shortages in our ESC, we are going to remove or eliminate ESC specialist positions where they are pulled every single day to cover classrooms, to do IEPs. They are some of our highest needs in this district. Some of our students that cannot help themselves, and we walk away and we're pulling units, pulling staff from the most vulnerable students in this district with zero explanation except for $1. $1 that's supporting other departments that are not in our schools. And I'm going to preach it for every single agenda item, but this one in particular is heartbreaking. Heartbreaking that 20 schools are pulling ESC specialists, or ESC specialists are losing half or a whole unit, and only 7 schools are gaining support. What are they going to do? We have teachers leaving every single day in the ESC department because they're being beaten, or they're being hit, or their students are running, or they can't run, or they're over and over again, and we're cutting those positions. Are we kidding ourselves? I cannot accept this at all. And to know we have students that are waiting for academic instructional material because we've got individuals that are working 20 and 30 hours a week in overtime to make sure that they have the materials they need in Braille is 100% unacceptable. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing there's no further questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear. And the motion passes unanimously. We'll now move on to 401, personal consent agenda. And I appreciate your passion, Member Rendon, and I don't disagree with a lot that you say. I would personally like to ask for a workshop around this so we can all discuss it at somewhere other than a board meeting. I just want to remind you that I think it's per our way of work, Mr. Porter, that asks board members to keep their comments directly to an agenda item. And I know you've been tying it in. I just want to remind you per the way of work. So now we'll move on to 401, personal consent agenda. Superintendent Item will highlight this odd.
Yes, ma'am. We'll move to 401, and I'll come back to that. So, board members, you're familiar with 401A. This is on almost every one of our agendas. This is our personnel consent agenda. Florida statute, state board rules, and Hillsborough County School Board policies require board notification and/or action regarding decisions and recommendations of the superintendent related to personnel matters. Actions regarding personnel have been recommended by supervisors, approved by the superintendent, and are forwarded to the board for action or, if appropriate, for information. The Hillsborough County School Board monthly approves the personnel consent agenda, which includes appointments, instructional support personnel actions, out-of-field personnel actions, terminations for non-compliance with certification requirements, and job descriptions. These personnel actions are essential for the effective operation of the school district and involve already allocated positions that will impact on salaries according to the current board-approved salary schedule, including supplemental positions. Madam Chair, that's 401.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve C401. I have a motion by Member Perez and a second by Member Combs. Member Rendon pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You guys can hold me to the way of work because when it's something this important, I just can't. I cannot sit back. I can't have these conversations without you. I have to make sure we understand. And when it comes to personal and the consent agenda, the fact that we are not, as a human resources department, making a priority of not saying that we're not going to call staff units and we're not going to make this a priority, I think it's appalling. And so this is the one thing that's about all of our staff. And not calling staff is just ridiculous. And then on top of which, every single thing that I have said in the past, this recently and all day today about making sure that we're putting the priorities on our schools and things, I believe that every single open position in this entire outside of a school should be put on hold. And I believe you should be reviewing every single department except for a school, and until you've determined that you've met every school's needs, Superintendent. I don't think we have an obligation to our students to give them every single thing they need. And we have to make this a priority.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Combs?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a couple of comments when we talk about the administrative appointments and transfers and everything. You know, I've said this from the beginning. If all of us disappeared, including me, you know, the schools would still keep running. I never, as a teacher, I never knew who my school board was. I didn't even know who my superintendent really was or who the chief of whatever was. I didn't really know. But at the end of the day, we have to look at what's happening at the state level and how we're impacted. I really do. I think about the schools that I'm familiar with. Berkeley, $27,000 a year. My friend told me this year her senior at CDS will cost her $30,000 to go there. Jesuit, $18,000. Tampa Prep, $25,000. All these schools cost so much, and we're getting less than $9,000 per child. So I think that's an issue. I think that we've looked at, I think from the beginning, the first 4 years, remember, Rendon, you weren't here. I talked about that every single week. I talked about making sure we don't have the layers upon layers and layers. And I know, Superintendent, you've worked on your cabinet, you know, to make sure you have the smallest cabinet that you've ever had. I know when I talk to people who are out, like the ELL individuals, ESC department, they're working so many hours. Everybody is working really intense amount of hours, and we have so many challenges. And so hopefully the millage will help, but we need to keep looking at every school. I mean, I have schools where I have a principal who is teaching science all year, reading specialists who are in the department. I say this all the time. What matters more than anything else is the teacher in front of the child. Nothing else matters. Whoever's in front of that child. We need to continue looking at all of that. Even if we dug deep and went to, nothing, we are still going to have huge vacancies because you don't have a lot of people going into education because it's not very well funded. Just yesterday, we were at the USF College of Education. They have 1,200 students in their undergrad. 1,200. That is not very many students, and about the same amount for graduates. So it's a big issue that we're facing. And why are people not going? I think it's a lot of work, a lot of pressure. Students are challenging, families are challenging, the expectations are high, the documentation is high. We keep asking people to do more and more. Now it's attendance, buses, whatever. It's just pulling this, pulling that, doing this, all these things. But at the end of the day, we have to look at it. It starts at the federal level, as far as the nation not really respecting education as much as we should. And then it goes on at the state level, and then it triggers down all the way to the district level. I don't see how you can compete with schools that cost $20,000, $30,000 when you have $9,000, and your needs are so high in every school. Some areas, I've had vacancies all year. So I think we continue looking at every level. I think as you should continue looking at every level, but I still think it's going to be an issue no matter what. And that's why we've got to do better for teachers, supporting them. That way we can, once we attract, we can retain them and keep them. That's the most important thing. A lot of our teachers are leaving within 5 years. And so we have to, that's what I talk about all the time. What keeps me up at night the most is the teacher vacancies. That is the biggest issue. And also creating a good environment so people want to stay and that when they're there, they're positive. So we just have to continue looking at that as a district.
Thank you, Member Combs. Superintendent Ayers, did you have something?
Yeah, so thank you, Madam Chair. So just to kind of address some of these items, I think I would love the opportunity to have a workshop to go over our unit allocation process. Just points of clarity, we are following formula for ESC specialists, so we do this every single year, where we take a look at our units. For all of you, an example, we have a new school that's opening up. Morgan High School is opening up. So we have students that move from one school to the other and those instructional staff units, non-instructional staff units, will also move as well. So this is, and to address the whole unit, calling them units, it is our process in which we call it, it's our unit allocation process. We'll get better with the language, we'll change it, but this is a process. I want to make sure that the board and staff understands and community understands this is a process we go through every year. We have to be fiscally responsible every single year and strategic in how those units are allocated out to schools. I want to be clear as well. We are in the middle of that right now. The numbers, when we look at our traditional enrollment, we run numbers and we have basically a starting point where K-3 we run at class size. For 18 for K-3, 4 to 8 we run at 22, and our senior high we run at 25. So we come up with a number, but then at that point in time it's where our regional superintendent staff work with schools to meet the needs of our schools. It is a complicated process. Every one of our schools is unique, from our IB programs to our magnet programs. So this is a process we go through where we work with schools, and we're in the middle of it right now. I can assure you, as we work through this, it's our number one priority, my staff's number one priority, that the needs of our schools are met. So we're in the middle of that right now. We had meetings on Friday, Monday. We stayed here till we were out late yesterday, kind of finalizing this. We met again today. We'll continue to meet throughout the week. But this is strategic allocation. Funds are not unlimited. I don't have an unlimited amount of funds, so we have to be, we got to be responsible with the dollars we receive from the state, and in which we allocate teachers out to schools and non-instructional as well. It's a whole process. We have a formula that we follow, but we would need not prepared today to go through all that. I can talk through it as much as you want, but I'd be happy to have a workshop and talk through that. But we are funded from the state based on number of students, and that's how our instructional staff is allocated, non-instructional staff based on that. But I'd be happy to do that at any point in time.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. I do agree that this is something good to talk about. It's concerns that I've had for years. We've kind of gone through it. I think that, to Member Combs' point, we need to talk about why we even have to do this in the first place, what our funding looks like. I do agree with Member Rendon that we need to be more transparent and understand the process, because sometimes I do think there is a disconnect. So I would love time to talk about this. I'm going to go ahead and submit this workshop request. Board members, if you could vote on it as soon as possible. And Dr. Whalen, if we do get a yes on this, can we prioritize placing this in a timely manner on the workshop calendar? Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wonder if it might be a good idea to, when we develop a workshop, Member Vaughn, if we would contour it to two different directions. The first direction is the actual reality of state funding or lack of. The second reality is the lack of teachers, retainment, and recruitment. Because both of those interface, and when you have a struggling budgetary conundrum, which it doesn't feel like that now, although Member Hahn and I remember we had tremendous budgeting challenges, we are being suffocated gradually with not the funding that is appropriate to take care of our children, inclusive our social workers, school psychologists, vocational tech counselors. We can go down the list. And what your job is, Superintendent Van Ayers, is to put forth procedures to make the very best conditions under those financial restraints, the best that you can do. And we trust you. You have an evaluation coming up, and Member Rendon, you surely will have that way of sharing your feelings, as I've done many years, and the rest of us. The light shines on the cabinet, how well they function, that they're taking care of our students. And we trust you, Superintendent Davis. I'll speak for the board right now. Perhaps maybe one doesn't. Yeah, who did I just say? Akins, yeah. Oh, Davis. So anyway, we trust you, and we are all student-centered, Member Rendon. We care very much. Prayers are being said for our students. We're worried about food insecurity. We're worried about what's going to happen from the feds to our state government. We have all those concerns. I think to Member Vaughn's point, when we have a workshop, that would probably be the best forum to share what Member Combs said with the finances from Tallahassee, and Superintendent Van Ayers. I don't know what's wrong with me tonight, but I do know I'm moving houses. It would be very applicable for you to be prepared to address the student culture, what you're doing about these restraints when we talk about ESE, when we talk about food security, all of those as it affects our students. And then, Member Vaughn, I guess we have to there's like 5 different topics that were discussed, or not discussed, mentioned tonight. So if you can secure maybe, a more limited amount, and maybe board members can help figure that out, so we don't spend, we don't go in 20 different directions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Quick question. Are we bringing principals in for the unit allocation? Do we bring them in the first time, or we bring them in after some of the unit allocations have been allotted?
So we're in the middle of that right now.
Okay.
So we allocate units, we allocate numbers that are out to schools. In that process, it is a starting point for our schools. They then our principals work with our region superintendents to meet the needs of that particular school. So it's a process we follow every year. The money is not unlimited, so we got to be responsible for the dollars we have. But I want this board to know this team's number one priority is to ensure that we've got the needs of our schools that are met. So, and we're in the middle of that right now. We're not even finished. We're still in that process as we currently sit. Units have not been finalized at sites. So taken a little off guard by the conversation today, but we're in the middle of it. I'd appreciate the opportunity to get to the end, get to the finish line of this, before we start creating noise around this, which doesn't need to be.
Okay, but principals are coming in to tell you what they need. And
they have conversations with the regional superintendents, right?
Okay.
So of the 234 schools that we work with, 90 of them were the ones that came back and met on Friday and Monday to sit down with the team, with the regional superintendents, to speak about the needs of their schools and why they need any particular resources at their site. So it's a process we work through.
That's a great process, because you'll know how many teachers you need and what you need at your school. Because back in the day when we used to come down for unit allocations, they didn't really tell you what you needed. So you could tell them anything, but we got the paper there, how many teachers you need, how many students you have, and that's a great way of helping out the school.
Mr. Washington, the process is not a lot different from what it was.
Okay.
It's all based on number of students that are projected at a site. You run class size and you get a starting point for numbers at a school, and then we work with our individual schools. Now, when we have programs, like I mentioned earlier, around IBs and Magnet, they're all a bit unique, and K-8s are a lot different as well, how we allocate out to our K-8s. So it's a process this staff is very good at. We're working through that. Knowing that as we get to the finish line, we have a budget that we have to meet. And I would also like, Madam Chair, as we look at this workshop, I think it'd be important that we educate a little bit on the state model and the state forecasting model and what state projects for Hillsborough County Public Schools and how we allocate based on that forecasting model for number of students that they project into Hillsborough County Public Schools.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Member Washington. Member Combs?
Yeah, I guess that was my question. Is this year different than it has been in the past?
Not at all.
It's the same. It's the same formula.
Same.
And I know sometimes that we anticipate a certain number of students, and then sometimes those students don't come in, and then sometimes later on after the 20-day count that we end up having students.
Right. And this was important. These are projections. This is the tough part of the job. We have to project to the next year on what we believe, what the state believes, what we think is going to be at certain schools. Then as a board, as you remember, as we get to day 5 of the school year, that's when we see what actually the number of students have, and we kind of make up for that. Some schools may lose teachers, some may gain, but it's all a process that we're very, very good at to ensure that we've got the right resources at our schools.
Yeah, and the one thing I'd love to see is at that workshop is how many PNP or the teachers that we brought from overseas. What are those teachers called? the API, I'd love to see what the numbers look like there. And then at the end of the year, what our true vacancies were. Because when we have a long-term sub, I still consider that as a vacancy. So I'd love to see, remember the other day I said when I go to my schools, I often go to schools and there's almost 3 or 4 vacancies, and the principals have tried to figure out what to do, taking a resource out. But I'd like to see at the end of the year what happens at the end of the year. How many vacancies did I truly have? How many teachers did we bring from overseas? How many long-term subs that we had, to really look at that? And how many teachers left and didn't come back after the first year, 3 years? We really need to dig down and do a real deep analysis of that, and also really analyze what we need to do as they exit out. It's not always just about money. It's also just about the first year is just exhausting the first couple of years and how much support that they're getting. So I think we need to really dig deep and look at that. And then, as we've talked about, recruiting from within, our seniors, 4 years goes really fast. A lot of those can come back and teach with us, right? Like we talked about recruiting best buddies, those individual students who are working with our ESE students, just being really creative and looking at that and how we're keeping those teachers. But I'd like to see the true numbers too of my schools. So sometimes I walk in there and there's not a sub, but there are substitutes. There've been like 3 or 4 vacancies the entire year. I'd like to see that.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Seeing there are no further questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear. And the motion passes unanimously. Now we move on to 502, increase expenditures for piggyback between Hillsborough County Public Schools and Securely Inc. for technology solutions. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you. So this Securely electronic hall pass program is becoming increasingly popular in secondary schools as a solution to monitor student movement outside the classroom, helping to minimize inappropriate behaviors during class time. This is a user-friendly web-based program, works on any internet connected device and accessible via Chrome, Safari, or their mobile app. Designed for administrators, teachers, and students, this system streamlines hall pass management while promoting accountability. So want to be clear, board members, so you understand this particular item 502, you are seeing this item because that number of schools that are purchasing Securely exceeds the threshold. But as you'll see in the agenda item, these are schools that have requested to purchase Securely, and that's why you're seeing this item today. But these are all coming from the school sites.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve 502. I have a motion by Member Perez and a second by Member Washington. Member Rendon, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments? Okay, so I actually have one question or comment. And I'll be quick on this. My comment is just I'm excited about this. So from my understanding, this is the first time we're implementing these schools and these schools are trying them. So I'd really love some updates about how this is working and what it looks like as far as getting the data for the schools, the students being outside of the classrooms, and just hoping that this is a good solution and something that we can eventually implement and expand within our schools and support. So that's my only comment. Seeing that there are no further questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear. And the motion passes unanimously. We will now move on to 704, approve guaranteed maximum price for the video board replacement projector at Blake High School. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this board item requires approval of the GMP for the replacement of the existing video board at Blake High School. We propose to provide a new video board to replace the one that fell and was irreparable due to Hurricane Helene. The problem is being resolved by providing a new video board, and that is 704. And Mr. Farkas is here if you have any questions regarding the video board over at Blake.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve C704. I have a motion by Member Perez and a second by Member Washington. Member Combs, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Yes, I just I pulled it mainly because of the cost. It seemed really extremely high to me, and I just wanted to talk about the process, the RFP process on that.
Sure. And it is expensive. This is the board that was paid for by the Women's Soccer Club by the Sun. We'll get reimbursement from FEMA, and that's why it says replacement. We have to take it out of the general fund to start with, but we'll apply for reimbursement from FEMA to do that. But we're replacing the existing board. This is not a new board. I mean, it's a new board, but it's the same one they had before. The reason that Skanska was chosen to install it was because they did all the rest of the video boards across the county, so they've got an expertise in that. So they were chosen on continuing services contract. But again, we had to replace an existing board. We couldn't go out for bid. We couldn't go out to the normal things we do in a construction project. We had to replace the identical board.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Rendon?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. If we do not get fully reimbursed by FEMA, are we looking to have that supplemented by any other means?
If we don't get reimbursed by FEMA, which we believe we will, but if we don't, we'll go to the soccer club to see if they'll help us with that cost.
Only because there's a differential in that board, particular to other boards. I don't have a problem with us working with FEMA because we need to have that board replaced for all of our students that are participating in athletics at Blake High School. So it's not a matter of that I don't want it to be replaced, but the particular type of board is a little bit different based upon that the Sun were using our fields. So I just want to make sure that if we don't get the full reimbursement, we are looking to that organization to be able to help supplement that.
The difference between what their board costs and what our board will cost if we were putting our own in would be what we'd look for them to help supplement.
Correct. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Seeing there are no further questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear. Member Combs? Oh, there you go. Thank you. And the motion passes unanimously. The following items will be read together. 705, approve guarantee maximum price for agricultural barn project at Leonard High School. And 706, approve guaranteed maximum price for agricultural barn project at Marshall Middle School. Superintendent Ayers, got your name right, will highlight these items.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this board item requires approval of the GMP for construction of a new agricultural barn to replace the existing one that does not meet HCPS standards. We propose to provide students with access to the new facility that will support students who will be storing animals and preparing them to show and contest throughout the year. The need is due to the existing agricultural barn not meeting HCPS standards. Long and Associates Architects and Engineers provided the district with middle and high school prototype that will be used in future agricultural barn projects. And that is 705 and 706. They're the kind of the same there. So that's a highlight of both.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve C705 and C706. I have a motion by Member Rendon and a second by Member Perez. Member Gray, you pulled these items. Do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I'm changing the mood just a tad with the spirit of the Florida Strawberry Festival and agriculture. You know, Tracy Lisi and we had ADAM K through 8 share the wonderful assets of music. Well, music and sports, in my mind, is one of the greatest equalizer, but also we have agriculture. And I really think those folks in the ag departments, those kids just thrive. So I just wanted to give a great shout out and a thank you to Principal Denise Savino of Leonard and what a fabulous, boy, she has chickens, she has every kind of animal in there and all kinds of crops growing. I wanted just to give her a shout out and Dennis Mayo at Marshall Middle School for their barn project. Again, ag is the formation, and it's, I know Earl Lennon, who used to be my teacher, was a big agricultural type of promoter, and I think these two wonderful principals just deserve such a shout out. Thanks for your efforts, both of you, both Denise Savino and Dennis Mayo, for what you're doing for your schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, after the Florida State Fair and the Strawberry Festival, we would be remiss if we did not thank every single one of our FFA, our 4-H teachers, our principals, our administrations, all of our maintenance crew around all of our schools that provide that support to all of our students. These students were there days and over again. Some of them spent the night. Some of them came back the next morning. They're washing, they're cleaning. I was unable to go to the fair this year just to do some commitments otherwise. But at the Strawberry Festival, I had the sheep, the plants, the chickens, the rabbits, the steer, the dairy, and we in Hillsborough County showed up and showed out. I mean, these kids, the pigs, the swines, I forgot about the swines first for days, but they stepped up and showed out. And it's just a remarkable testament to our teachers and our staff around the county that go over and above with these students. When the hurricanes hit, those teachers were first ones at those school sites making sure those animals were okay and they were secure. And if they had to bring any back that got loose, let alone making sure they were fed and they could get to staff. So to have them show what they showed, the students that got rewarded for the animals and the plants that were purchased, that's kind of an amazing thing. If you've not been to the plant sale, 150 plants that were actually items that were sold through our students, it was just tremendous. But I think we have to keep in mind that these are our future farmers. These are our future growers. Food security is national security, and they are being a part of our future here in Florida and around this country. And so I think what we're doing here is truly building those leaders for tomorrow. The leadership skills they learn, the different avenues that they can take from FFA and 4-H are just tremendous. So I want to thank all of those instructors, all of those school administrators that support the ag departments around our entire county. I did not bring pictures because if I missed one, I would feel horrible. So, but I would like to say they've all did a phenomenal job, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching each and every one of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Rendon. All right, seeing there are no further questions or comments, first we're going to vote on 705 to approve.
Vote on together.
It can? Okay. So, seeing that.
Vote is for 705 and 706.
Okay. Seeing that there are no further comments, please vote for both 705 and 706 when your lights appear. And both items pass unanimously. I think we still have time for this. We will now move on to 1001, RFP for Mass Notification System website design. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this agenda item is to award a competitive bid for the design and hosting of the district's website, including microsites for each school, as well as update to our parent notification communication tools. This will give our online presence a modern look and feel and provide an easier, more engaging ways for families to stay connected. These updates will also ensure that all important information is presented in a clear and streamlined manner. So this new contract will also include a district branded customized app, as well as a one-to-one training for our staff and full support from the App2G team to help clean up and migrate content to the new platform. The IT and communications team will work with the vendor to strategize and launch a campaign to ensure all stakeholders are engaged with these new communication tools. So that is 1001, which is our website and our mass notification system, which our schools our leaders do an amazing job of how they communicate to their families. Outstanding. This is a tool which is going to help them quite a bit in how they communicate to their families.
Thank
That
you.
is 1001.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve 1001. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Perez. Member Rendon pulled this item. Do you have any? Okay. Seeing that there are no further questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear. And the motion is approved unanimously. We will now move on to 1102, approve the legal services agreement between the School Board of Hillsborough County, Florida and Ackerman LLP for School Board Attorney Services. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'll kind of summarize this, but Mr. Porter has met with each of you regarding this contract for continued representation with Ackerman LLP regarding School Board Attorney Services. So that is item 1102.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. I need a motion and a second to approve C-1102. I have a motion by Member Washington and a second by Member Perez. Member Gray and Member Combs, you pulled this item. Do you have a question or comment? Member Combs?
Thank you, Chair Vaughn. I just have a couple comments. Overall, Mr. Porter, we talked about this with the contract. I think Mr. Porter has been very reliable, easy to contact. Anytime I contact you, we're able to talk. Any questions I have, I think these last couple of years in particular have been very challenging, and you've been very consistent and wonderful. And I'm going to support the contract today, but I stand where I stood 4 years ago. One of the things when I came into the school board as a school board member is always to try to strengthen our organization and make our organization better, and also never feel connected personally to anyone, because I have to remember why I'm here and stay student focused and focus on the organization and continue to try to strengthen the organization. I believe today what I believed years ago, which I do believe we need an in-house attorney. I don't know of another district that has, if you took the top 20 districts in the country, even any of them in the state of Florida, they all have in-house attorneys. So that way, somebody from the operations department or the choice department or the literature department can go downstairs and talk to somebody. They can talk to, if not an attorney, they can talk to a paraprofessional, I mean not paraprofessional, paralegal or an assistant. So I think it's really important. I think it's strengthened, especially with all the changes that are happening on the state and legislative level, on the federal level. It's very hard to keep up with all of that. Kristen does a great job, but I think it would be really good for, as someone like Matt Romano from the Choice Program, if he has a question about legality, he can go down to ROSAC and ask somebody that. I think it's important. I'm going to support this, but I still believe we need to have an in-house attorney. I'd love to discuss this at a workshop or at a retreat, possibly looking at that and seeing at the overall cost of what's costing us and costing you, and overall our legal fees completely in the last 3 years. I'd like to do a deep analysis of that and look at that and see how we can become more effective. The other thing I've mentioned is really doing a survey for our different departments. I feel like I'm supported, but I don't know if all our other departments are supported and what they need to get more support. So I know I did that about 2 years ago, and every department felt like they needed more support. But I know, that we need to have a majority here. So I will stay and support. And thank you, Mr. Porter. You're doing a great job. It has nothing to do with you. I just believe we need an in-house attorney at some point. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Gray, I know you didn't get in the queue right away, but you pulled this item as well. So I'll let you go if that's okay. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Madam Chair. And Mr. Porter, we do appreciate you and your work and your responsiveness. And I'm not real comfortable talking about this issue when you're sitting right here, but that's the choice that has been made on the agenda. When we have a raise of $1,000 a month, it's not very much in the light of all things. However, I think the bigger question that I want to see discussed, and board members tell me what you think, and not right now, but we do have a workshop in April. It may have to be an executive session, but when we look at the reality right now of the state and federal issues that are coming before us, and this is really, I brought this up, I think probably 4 or 5 years ago, we had Mr. Gonzalez, who was a attorney for the board even before I was here in 2016, and he did serve as a quasi-house attorney and a board attorney. Fast forward, then we have a separate attorney. The idea of a house attorney is not a new one. Many of the districts in Florida have several. An example would be Orange County has 15 house attorneys. Small districts have a number of house attorneys. Miami-Dade, I think, has about 18. So it's not a new idea, but I think the genesis is it's an important learning point for all board members, inclusive as myself, is to have two models. We have right now, and we've had a board attorney and a district attorney. Well, if we also look at one other model that we call it the house attorney or house attorneys, and we look at it in several different ways. Number one, we have a changing amount of funding going on, Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IX, and right now we're looking at SNAP and many food programs that may be dropped. I mean, that's in the news. We have educational laws that are being changed, curriculums being changed. Our supervisors are already, as Member Rendon said, they're busy. Everyone is full to the top of work. So we're giving them that workload, the legalities of putting the modifications of curriculum as it's sex education. I'll go into some of that. Well, I'm not going to go into that right now, but there is a very important tenets that if board members if we don't follow this, we can be liable. I also think special education, tremendous amount of, there will be changes. They're coming as we speak, as you get into different news stations. There's bargaining issues. There are so many larger issues. How about our vendors, the legal affiliations? Some of these vendors are millions of dollars. We need to have that definitely covered so the board members know what is liable to us, what is best practice. We need to have school site governance. Public and student records, cost effectiveness. Right now we have 9 other attorneys that we kind of ad hoc give work to as a flow through, and I'm sure Jamie, you're just probably going to have a fit with the way I'm explaining it, but that's a lot of attorneys, and we're losing track, and the board, we're 7th largest in the country, and this is a larger issue now than just one board attorney and one district attorney. There is no question. So what we're doing is we're shoveling all this extra, these new Florida statutes, and giving it to cabinet members and supervisors to make sure that we're following it. I think it's a way of work that may have worked or did work. Crosby Few, he was a great attorney. That was years ago. Shay, you remember him. And, we had Gonzalez. He was a great attorney. But anyway, so what I would like for us to consider in the educational piece, when we have a workshop, Madam Chair, in April, perhaps carve out a little bit of space so we can look at the advantages, Jamie, and give us the 2 scopes that you were sharing with me, the advantages and disadvantages of a house attorney and or keeping what we have now.
Well, I'll address that. We can have that discussion, a house attorney versus outside. But I think the agenda item today is for Mr. Porter. We can discuss that at a later date.
Well, it involves his position as well. So I just wanted to make sure it's what we have now and what we should learn. There's other districts are doing other things. So with in-house attorneys. So I look at it in in other words, you have 2 different models going on, but we know of one, but we don't know of the other. Okay. So the education value of knowing the other, I think, is very important.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, Jim, I want to tell you, I'm telling you, you do a great job. You really do. You've been around for a while. I don't know about in-house, out-house, all the other houses, but I do know you do a hell of a job. You do a great job. And you have my vote, because there's never been a time where I called and you didn't respond. You always responded. You was always on top of it. And you gave out good information. So that's important to me as not a rookie board member, not a vet board member, but it's very important to have a person like you with the knowledge you have had over the years working in Hillsborough County Public Schools. So, Jim, I really appreciate you, and you got my vote.
Thank you, Member Washington. Member Rendon?
Thank you very much. And I think it's very important to understand that even if we have an in-house attorney for the district that the district would utilize, it would have to be a separate in-house attorney from the board, or it would be a conflict of interest, because the board attorney must represent the board first, and an in-house district attorney could be able to handle for those other departments. So I understand what you're saying, Member Combs, and I think there is a room for the superintendent to investigate how he believes his staff could utilize the district's attorney, and maybe there is room for what the needs are for the district. But as far as our board attorney, I did look at counties of Miami-Dade, Orange, Broward, Palm Beach, Brevard, Lee, and Pinellas County. Majority of them do have in-house attorneys. All of their salaries are higher than Mr. Porter's, and all of them have also a paralegal and a legal assistant on top of which. So those are 2 additional salaries on top of their salaries that would be more. In the spirit of fiscal responsibility that I have been preaching, that I want schools to be first, I believe keeping the current situation as it is the most cost effective for the board at the moment. I do understand where you're coming from, Member Combs, of the needs of the district and being able to talk to an attorney. I think there is a place for that. I think there really is. And I think, Superintendent, there's a place for you to talk about an in-house attorney, because with the many changes that are occurring, and for example, when we talk about Title I's and Title II's and Title IX's, that actually is an act of Congress to change those. It's not the Department of Ed. The Department of Ed is actually a pass-through agency in which the funding for those titles actually fall through. but it's actually Congress that has voted those into statute, and they can only be changed by Congress. And I think that's important to know. But I think that those are the things that we would need someone in-house to talk to our various departments about, making sure that we are meeting the standards of the state when they have a new law that comes down from the federal law or the state law. I think is critically important. I also want to make sure that we understand that when I understand that in the news, SNAP and Medicaid has been taking a hit. I actually believe 30,000 of our students here in Hillsborough County have lost their Medicaid, but it has nothing to do with the laws that have changed, because there is no laws that have changed to affect Medicaid, both federally and state. Those are actually because recertifications have not occurred through the Access Florida program. And I have been working with our local staff here and nonprofits and with DCF to try to implement those and bring those back, to work with our social workers to try to get those back and implemented. So I do appreciate you bringing that to our attention, Member Gray, because it is a critical problem here in Hillsborough County as well as around the state. And I'm thankful for the Department of Children and Families that they're willing to work with us and work with the Florida School Board Association to be trying to come up with a solution to get our students back on track. But it's very important that we make sure there's a differentiate between legal representation. And so I do think, and I've got a fly going around my scale. Anyways, but thank you, Mr. Porter, for taking the time out, and my patience as I reviewed the contracts from all of those other districts and what their attorneys are getting as far as cost and the responsibility that they have. And they are only for the school board. They are not for any other means or any other departments within the district. So I do thank you very much for taking the time to meet with me on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Gray?
Yeah, I don't want to thank you, Madam Chair, beat a dead horse. I think what we're really saying throughout your discussion is the need for education, for us to understand what a House attorney, the pros and cons. That's what I'm looking at as an educator. What do we need as board members to know? Because there's another side of that coin, and it's been practiced by many other districts. And for us to keep going with the way we've been doing, year in and year out, this is not the same DOE, same federal government as it was years ago. Things are changing. So I think, just for our edification, we should be aware as board members of what a House attorney, advantages and disadvantages, be it what it may. At least we can have discussion, and perhaps you can have your favorite fly keep you company over there. But I do think discussion, education and discussion among all of us is critical when we talk about legal challenges, etc. That's all. That's what I'm leaving. And I'm glad, Member Rendon, you have the big scope in your brain. Glad you have those experiences. Glad you have all that knowledge. And I'll raise my hand. I'll say, hey, I wish I knew everything on House attorneys, and I wish I knew everything about, every district, how they handle their attorneys, but I don't. And I would challenge any board member to say to me, oh, I know all about what it's like to have a House attorney, because I don't think we do know. And I want to have the fiscal reality and also the legal reality of pro and con. That's all.
Thank you, Member Gray. Seeing that there's no further questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear. And the motion passes unanimously.
I'd just like to say thank you, board members. I appreciate the words, the conversation. I appreciate your trust in me and your support. And it's an honor for me to represent the school board, and I will continue to do the best I can to be your attorney. So thank you very much. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. We are now going to move on to employee comment. We will now take employee comment. Even though we hear public comment at the beginning of the meeting, it's sometimes difficult for our employees at the district to attend meetings at 4 p.m. There are many ways for employees to make their voices heard, including through union representatives, emails, phone calls, one-on-one conversations, and public comment at the beginning of the meeting. However, the board wants to hear from you. With this section of our agenda, we're creating another avenue for employees to speak to the board. We're setting aside 30 minutes for employees of the district to speak to the board about any issues that are on your mind. This is not intended to be a discussion about any specific agenda items on tonight's agenda, but rather an opportunity for you to speak to the board about any issues related to your job or the district. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. I'll now call on our one and only speaker.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Rob Creed, president of CTA. I love the discussion tonight, and it really is very robust around that which is the bread and butter of what we do, that how we are engaging our students. Whether we're talking about salary, whether we're talking about recruitment and retainment, whether we're talking about units or the teachers that we need at our sites, or even the services that we're delivering to ESE students, among others, we are working in a state that woefully underfunds public education. Our job, collectively, is to mitigate that. When we asked the public out there that voted clearly for an amendment that said that there would be a certain number of students in every class grade level, how many of them out there in the public know that it's now become, well, we'll follow that amendment to the very best of our ability? And that's really where the rubber hits the road with units, because we are not funded enough to quite do that which maybe the kids need. I challenge Member Washington to maybe lead the subcommittee or the work at the when you guys get together, we call that a workshop. Yes, because of the work that you've done as an administrator and teacher and all of those different spots along the way, knowing what schools potentially need. But not only do we want to have a plan, we should be able to be transparent and clear about that, so that way the members of our community know that. What we know clearly is that the community strongly supports our public schools. I can give you a lot of examples around that, but I think that I've done that a lot of times already. We need to arm them with the information that they need to make the right choices in the conversations that they have with lawmakers and with the votes that they make. So these are things that I bring to you guys in terms of the great work that we're doing. Despite all of this, I would say that we have a very highly effective school board, and we have great employees that are doing a great job, within the conditions that we're given. We very much appreciate you guys. And another thing, like you talk about, I just answered the question earlier today. How many people in the public know that when they see a billboard on the side of the road that says X amount of billion raised for public education, how many of them know that that's not additional money? That's in place of money. Most people don't know that. I have that conversation and almost always they're like, what? So yeah, they're not adding money to public education. They're just replacing where that money comes from. It's coming from the lottery money. So there are opportunities for us to talk to and engage the community around these issues that we have, because we need their help to preserve and do the great job that we have for our schools. The last thing I have for everyone is we're looking forward to getting to the bargaining table, and appreciate your guys' willingness to start early and collaborate the best we can, because that's another way that we can help retain and recruit the people that we need for all of these sites. But thank you guys. Happy spring break too.
Thank you. We'll now move on to superintendent comments. Mr. Superintendent?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we'll get this up. There we go. So as you heard from our wonderful students and teachers over at ADEM Pre-K-8, March is Theater, Art, and Music in Our Schools Month. These programs ignite creativity, teamwork, and critical thinking. This month-long celebration highlights the importance of these programs in our schools. So as we heard them mention about tomorrow, we invite the community to visit the 2025 Fine Arts Festival, and that's tomorrow, March 12th, from 4 to 6:30 at the Tampa Museum of Art to see their masterpieces. I know board members, a lot of you will be out at the Tampa Museum of Art tomorrow. So also our second choice and magnet application window opened on Monday, March 10th, and will close Friday, March 28th. This is another opportunity for families to choose for the 25-26 school year. Families interested in learning more about a magnet or application required career and technical education program can attend the last in-person session tomorrow night at Armwood from 5 to 7 p.m. All right, so we've got some awards now, and I want to kind of highlight these. And I know board members, as I was over at the STEM Fair, I know I saw a lot of you. I think Dr. Hahn, you and I were there at about the same time when we went to visit. So we do have those winners that I'd like to acknowledge. And on February 26th, the winners of the 2025 Hillsborough Regional STEM Fair were announced. Had the opportunity to visit during judging, and the work was absolutely amazing. There certainly was some very tough competition. Congratulations to those who took home the Best of Fair award. So for elementary, the Best of Fair were third grade, Marlo Doherty from Roland Park K-8 for her project titled Sun Smarts for JDM Testing, Our Best Defenses. Fourth grade was Evelyn Hill from Pride Elementary for her project Debrivator. Debrivator, there we go. And fifth grade, Justin Gallo Castillo from Lutz K-8 for his project entitled Land Ho. This morning, these three bright students were showcased on Fox 13's Good Day program to talk about their winning projects. So congratulations to Marlo, Evelyn, and Justin, our winners from Roland Park, Pride, and Lutz. So for our middle schools, Tanishka and Dr. Whalen, we practiced this and I forgot. Do you remember? I had it right. Chintamanini, I believe. I had it right earlier. From Williams Middle Magnet, won Best of Fair. Daniel Park from King High School, and Tanishka Aglave from Strawberry Crest won Best of Fair for high schools. Daniel and Tanishka were also advanced to the International Science and Engineering Fair. Rudra Patel from Middleton will also be joining them at ISEF. Congratulations to all of our amazing students. For the complete list of winners, you can visit our website or watch the replay of the awards programs on TBAE. And I do want to give special thanks. She was actually here earlier, Dr. Catherine Wright, our supervisor for K-12 STEM, and her entire team for the work on this fair each and every year. Also want to thank our incredible teachers for being the guides, cheerleaders, and mentors behind the scenes. And last but certainly not least, thank you to our families. Your support has made this event so successful. Also, congratulations to Alyssa Heyman, Junior at Steinbrenner, on earning the prestigious U.S. Congressional Award Gold Medal. Alyssa was recognized last week by Congresswoman Laurel Lee. Over the past 2 years, Alyssa has dedicated more than 1,500 hours to volunteering, community service, personal development, and educational projects. Her commitment to making a difference is truly inspiring and a testament to the impact young leaders can have on their communities. Congratulations again to Alyssa Jr. over at Steinbrenner. Also, we talked, we're the large district of the year for ACE Cambridge. So we also have this acknowledgement. Congratulations to 119 of our students who received the prestigious awards from Cambridge International Education, which acknowledges their outstanding performance on the June 2024 Cambridge exam. So those end of year exams. Our students won awards in 4 categories: distinction, merit, scholar, and top in USA. Middleton, who had 3 awardees, but 1 student who received the top in the USA award. Congratulations to Talwani Rishab for winning the very top in the USA award. That's pretty incredible. He gained the highest standard mark in the U.S. for a single subject. Talwani is now attending the USF Honors Program, where he's aspiring to be a physician and a science. So I want to say that one more time. I mean, Talwani, with the very top in the USA, gained the highest standard mark in the U.S. for a single subject. Absolutely incredible. And he's now over at USF. Great job by our students in the incredible honor, and our Cambridge ACE teachers, especially, who prepared our students. All right. And we had some state championships from last Saturday. And on Saturday, the Bloomingdale High School Lady Bulls claimed its first ever state championship in girls basketball. Go Bulls, with a nail-biting 43-41 victory over top-seeded Miami Southridge in the 6A finals. I want a special congrats to Coach Jeff Bauer and the entire team for this amazing win. I also want a special shout out to Steinbrenner Lady Warriors, who also competed in the state championship basketball semifinals as well. So we had, and remember, Brendan, you mentioned it last board meeting, we had 2 of our teams that made the Final Four, both in 6A, and Bloomingdale was able to get their first ever state championship. So this championship continues an impressive run for HCPS girls basketball, marking the 3rd state title in 6 years by a public school following Tampa Bay Tech and Plant. Pretty remarkable basketball from HCPS. And finally, getting to the end, congratulations to our Student Nutrition Services team, led by, of course, the fantastic Shani Hall, for receiving the USDA's Breakfast and Lunch Trailblazer Awards for their fantastic efforts in reducing sodium and added sugars from student meals. It's also National School Breakfast Week, and an ideal time to acknowledge and thank our student nutrition team for their hard work and dedication to our students. And it's hard to believe, but here we are, a few days until spring break. I just hope everyone has a wonderful and safe spring break next week. We'll see everyone back on Monday, March 24th to finish out this school year strong. And then finally, just one other announcement I wanted to add. Board members, I also want to let you know that we have received another settlement allocation payment regarding our Juul vaping litigation. This was a net payment of close to $1 million, which will end up being a total gross settlement allocation of $10.3 million. So I just want to thank Mr. Porter for his assistance regarding the district's participation in this important litigation. Madam Chair, those are my comments.
Thank you, Superintendent. We'll now move on to board member comments. Member Perez?
Pablo, did you get a video? Okay. While he's playing that video, I'm gonna speak over it. We had the 6th annual Hope for Tampa event. It was at Farrell Middle School. 241 families registered, and they were able to provide 352 children with essential resources, academic supports, and services. And Hope for Tampa, it's the 6th year starting. It started spring of 2021, and they always host 2 events, one in the fall and one in the spring. I want to thank Lenita Lucas from Operations Department and faith-based organizations, Hillsborough County Affordable Housing, Tampa Police. Go ahead and play.
It was great here at this event today. See a lot of the support from the staff and also our students, but also community members that I hear supporting the school. A lot of items that were put in place that our teachers, our students, their parents, that will be there to sustain them. But also, you see that our families really needed these items, from formula to diapers to clothing to food. Boy, this was an amazing event here at the school. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, community, for supporting, and I just enjoyed it. Thank you.
And we had Idlewild Baptist Church, Boy to Men, Kelly Services Publix, Early Learning Coalition, Literacy Bus, Hispanic Services, Nope, Medical Dental Services, Feeding Tampa Bay, Tampa Police Department, Affordable Housing, and then our Operations, Community Schools, Adult and Career Services, and Choice. But we also had 67 volunteers who were there on Saturday. Superintendent Ayers, I'm going to also be transparent as well, along with Member Rendon, regarding the reduction of the presence of the ESC professionals. I feel that this can significantly affect the success of the students by decreasing the staff. When ESC professionals are less visible, educators may feel driven to adhere to less driven to adhere to high standards, which leads to inconsistency in the classrooms. The lack of ESC professionals can encourage an environment where responsibility is diluted, resulting in lower supports for our students or implementing the best practices, and ultimately affects the learning of our students. Also, I want to talk to you about as a board member, and I'm only going to speak, I never speak for the board because that's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to speak regarding this board member, is my accountability to my constituents, to provide clarity when there are concerns, as well to inform. What expectations regarding discipline in this district, and has it been communicated to our administrators, as we have consistently and open communication as far as the expectations for academics or instructional practices. Let me explain. So we have, give you an example, a student at Lato had a weapon and he was handed only a 10-day suspension, while another student was in a fight for the first time and received a 10-day suspension with a change of placement. The problem is that this has been now on a high level, and my phone has been blowing up. There's been a concern about our current hearing process. And I want to trust that we have the right leaders in place to govern. However, when there are red flags and inconsistencies and parent concerns, then I must be intentional and ask some questions. And having, several calls. But also, as a school board member, I would like to emphasize that when I request information, it's not a choice to provide me with the information, it's a requirement. In order for me to effectively address the issues that are brought to my attention on a daily basis, timely access to all relevant information is crucial. Transparency and accountability are the key principles that guide my work. I rely on complete and accurate information to fulfill my duties as a board member. And the cooperation of your staff is greatly appreciated. So I want to have a conversation with you during this week regarding what's happening with regard to this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Perez. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pablo, could you just put the slides on? Slide on the slides. That was one. Okay, so big thank you to Principal Buggs, and I know, Madam Chair, you're familiar with this principal, Turner Bartels, K through 8. We had a wonderful showing, our Student Online Safety Forum, inclusive as the Hillsborough County Sheriff Office, the FBI, we had the City of Tampa, we had the No More Foundation, Paving the Way, Victims to Survivors, agencies that really care and are passionate to keep our students safe from possible human traffickers. We call it Student Online Safety because a lot of this grooming temptation gets to our students through, and Member Combs mentioned this over and over, the cell phones. So we had a lot of awareness shared that night, and I want to thank FACE as well. Owen, Dr. Lewis came as well, and also our supervisors have come, went there also. I did want to say, and thank you, Pablo, for sharing. That's the only slide we had? Okay. All right. Let's end that one. I wanted to share just a concern, and perhaps other board members may have similar ones. There has been some talk within the black communities regarding the NAACP usage of the Gary Adult Center. When I start hearing and seeing evidential situations as a lack of, and I know another board member mentioned this, a sign-in sheet, perhaps lack of cameras, perhaps also the additional insured not capturing meetings that are being there, and what is going on that we as a board member do not know. And I'll just speak for myself. And because I had a business and I know additional insured, I had to make sure that anyone that used my business site had to put under my insurance umbrella. I'm sure some of you who have had a business know that. But I want to be sure that those questions that were posed today in public, and actually some of them were posed the last board meeting, I want those answers to be shared and again with me. So when I communicate with these groups, I can give them the answers. Right now I don't have those, but if we're violating any of the contract, it's very important that at least we know. So if I can have some type of assurance that the feedback to those additionally insured, the sign-in sheets, the actual groups that are meeting, are they put down as the additional insured? And just to have a clean record so we don't have any more of the suspicious remarks being made. So that's on that one. And yes, I am moving. Board members, thanks for your patience tonight. I am weary, one house to another, even though it's a mile away. And I wanted to say also just gratitude and to each board member for your hard work and all the visits that you did. And Member Perez, thank you for cheering me up with those great visits. I didn't get a chance to do it the last almost 2 weeks. I want to share a big thank you to our cabinet workers, our superintendent, our wonderful teachers, our paras, our bus drivers. We all want you to have a great, restful vacation. And it is coming up, so thank you for this, for everything that you all do. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Gray. Dr. Hahn? Member Gray and Madam.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. So before I get into some of the fun things around the district, I do want to talk about the book that was mentioned tonight, American Psycho. It kind of caught my attention when she had mentioned that it's in elementary schools. And when you click through the reviews on our website where we have a list of the books, and you can click through professional reviews, it says, while American Psycho includes pornographic scenes, they're carefully crafted and placed and juxtaposed with horror and gore. And when you look up the reviews for this book, it's recommended for people 18 or older. There is one article that has kids reviewing the book, and these are mostly high school kids, even they would say the book is really for 15 and older. And it is in elementary schools. So I would imagine this isn't whether the book should be in our schools or not, but it's clearly misplaced. I'd like to know in those schools that are listed, who chose the book for that school? I want you to meet with them and ask them what their rationale was for putting such a book, which in the review says has pornographic material. And I would like you to pull the books until you figure out why it's in an elementary school, because I am now questioning the judgment of the people that are choosing this book to be in an elementary school. I'm really concerned about that. I'm not talking about pulling it from but it's in an elementary school. It's in 6 or 7 of them. So I want to know who they are, how they were chosen, why they were chosen for an elementary school. And I know we have a process in place, but this should be concerning to everybody that this is sitting in an elementary school and it has pornographic material in it. I'm not asking for you to respond. I'm telling you what I want done.
Yep.
Okay. And it's really upsetting to me. I'd like to also know how long they've been sitting on the shelves of those elementary schools. Also, a year before I was elected to the school board, the superintendent at that time made cuts to paras in ESE classrooms. And if you want to refresh yourself with that, you can Google it. It's in the Tampa Bay Times. And it was a year before Karen and I were elected to the school board. At that time, I was a professor at USF in the Department of Special Ed, preparing future special ed teachers. And for many of myself and many of my colleagues, that was a real concern, that's where that superintendent thought that good cuts should be made in special ed classrooms with our most vulnerable students and to the paras. And so I would hate to see us take that path and look at making cuts in ESE if we're looking to make cuts. So I agree with, Member Rendon and Member Perez's comments tonight around those cuts in special ed. Okay, so it was a busy 2 weeks. Lots of really good stuff happening, though, in Hillsborough County Public Schools. Certainly, I loved taking part of National African American Read-In at Lockhart Elementary School in Mr. Washington's area. Beautiful school. So thoroughly enjoyed reading to those sweet kindergartners at Lockhart. Later in the week, I was honored to be asked to flip the game coin for the Tampa Sun game. And it was such a fun night, and to go on the field and flip the coin and meet the coaches and players, and I got to see the facilities at Blake, the upgrades, and they were just beautiful. And I'm so excited for the students at your school, Member Washington. I'm sure they love it. The football players and so forth love to go out there. It's gorgeous. Strawberry Festival luncheon was so fun. Love to be in Plant City. It's a special community. And then I was able to celebrate with Junior Achievement 60 years of them empowering students with through financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and career readiness. What a special night. 60 years Junior Achievement has been in this community serving our students. It's a very special organization. I'm proud to be a new board member there. And lastly, I was able to go to the Tampa Bay Rays She Is Football Women's Summit. It was a lot of fun. It uplifted women. It had a lot of phenomenal guest speakers and sessions that you could attend. And the event closed with Erin Andrews and Carissa Thompson. And if you follow sports, I live in a house of boys and men, and it's sports 24/7. So, yes. And Erin Andrews is, yes, she grew up here. Her dad was on Channel 8. And they did a live edition of their podcast, and that was just so fun and unforgettable. So big thank you to the Bucks for hosting that for women in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hahn. Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We started off with on February the 28th at the 4th Annual Black History Month reception with Fred Hearns. It was a great event. We really had a great time. Yes, my board members, we were there. We had a great time. I came a little late. I think I might have missed you. Yeah, I did. She was there when I came? Okay, because I was running a little late. But it was a great event. The winning club was Gaither, winning school was Gaither High School that represented the event with Thomas Marr, the principal. They had Thomas Mazart and Vanessa Cabin Garcia were presented with the $1,000 award. It was great. We had opportunity to see the first black athlete to go to Florida Gators, Leonard George, as a running back. He played at Jesuit in the 60s. He went to Florida in 69. He was a great athlete, great running back. So I had the opportunity to meet him again, and we had a great time. I know what you're going to say, that I told him I beat them when we were in high school. I had to remind him they had a great team. We did too. We beat them 45-25. So I had to bring that to his attention so he didn't forget. Yeah. So it was really nice. It was nice. We had a great event. And then on Sunday, I want to thank Deputy McRae and Dr. Graves for coming out to Allen Temple. We had the Day of Education and Friends and Family Day. We recognized Mrs. Quinn, Shasharia Quinn, who was a great educator here in Hillsborough County. The event was really nice. We had a lot of educators out there. And again, thank you, Deputy McRae and Dr. Graves for coming. It was really nice. And Mr. Owen, I'm sorry I couldn't make it to Mr. Young, I couldn't make it to the event, but I heard it was great. It really turned out real nice. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Member Washington. Member Rendon?
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to beat a dead horse, and I'm going to ask Superintendent Ayers. You know, many times after I spoke today, many of the board members say, we need change. We see change coming. We need change. We've been doing this for 30 years with our formula. We need change. We need to look at schools differently. I know we want to be fiscally responsible, but fiscally responsible starts in the classroom, because if they're doing it right, then everything else will fall in place. So if we're being fiscally responsible, that has to be where the money goes first, and then the other departments. And I'm going to stand by that. We have phenomenal staff here at ROSAC, at ISC. However, our students, our teachers, and our administration at our schools have to be the first priority. And I'm going to leave you with that. One more thing. Our county in the last 2 years has increased in population by 1.25%. Our district has increased in students by 0.9%. We are lagging because they're not coming here all the time. They need to be coming here all the time. We have the best product in Hillsborough County. So we need to make sure our schools are the best product in Hillsborough County. Member Combs, I'm going to go 100% with you that we need to have more funding for our schools. And I will be there in Tallahassee next week and the week after. And I will defend our public schools and what we need money for. 100% behind you. I will defend that. I also say, Superintendent, I back Dr. Hahn, and I cannot believe that under your watch that these books are in our elementary schools. I would like to see what process you are using to make sure what books come in our schools. I don't know what it is, but that's what I ask that you share with all of our board members on how books that clearly in a review determine that it's pornography and it's already there. Like, what is our process? And if you would provide that to us, and obviously you don't have it at your fingertips right now, but we need to see what that process is. I don't want staff to take the blame for something else. It's not their responsibility, but it is unexcusable that more books or any books that are considered pornography are in our schools. And when that review says it, it's unacceptable. So are you gonna, if you want to speak,
I was just going to say that let's verify first if these schools are in our elementary schools. Let's verify that first before we hear from a public speaker and then make assumptions. Yes, and that's what we're working through with a number that was looked up on a system. So we're working through that right now. The team's working on it. It's the first time hearing about it, and we'll get on our way. But I don't believe that that book is in 9 elementary schools.
Then again, it's our system. It's our responsibility. Buck stops with us.
Fine. Agreed.
So I've got to do that. Pablo, could you put the pictures up? Oops. Okay, first I want to talk about Relay for Life. There was 180 teams at Relay for Life. I want to thank the Relay for all of our schools that participated, from elementary, middle, and high schools. It was a phenomenal event. I was honored to be able to be there to kick it off. Our elementary schools came out. Our honor choirs came out. Thank you, Tracy Lacey, for helping coordinate that. That is our survivor walk. But it was so exciting to have thousands or over 1,000 of our students there between the different teams that came, and we had over 600 elementary schools singing for the kickoff of Relay for Life. So super excited. I'm going to continue on with the history. We had the history fair last week, which was phenomenal at HCC. It talked about many of the students around our county, whether they were doing a documentary or they were doing an acting presentation or a they had a research paper or they did an actual presentation. They did a phenomenal job. And then my last pictures I want to show up. I do want to thank Member Washington and Member Gray for being there with Black History Month reception. But then the last pictures I have up are of Armwood High School's Vet Tech program. They are doing once a month. They're doing that. That's with Relay for Life, but they're doing the spas for animals. And I'm going to tell you what, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. They will take your pets and work on your dogs or your cats or whatever you need. Strawberry Crest also does the same thing, and it allows the students to truly have practical experience with the animals. So I wanted to give a shout out to Armwood High School and Strawberry Crest, who also do that. Super, super fun thing for them to do, and it really gives students practical experience in working with animals. Do we have any of those pictures? We don't have those. Okay. So, but they were absolutely wonderful. So, thank you to all of them, and thank you again.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Combs?
Okay, just very quickly, I just want to thank Mr. Owen Young and his entire FACE team. That was a great event. I know Member Rendon and I were out there, and you had so many parents show up, so that was really great. I mean, there's been so many events. The USF Education in Action, that was amazing yesterday. And I also want to thank Major Spencer. I went to my first military ball the other day, which was amazing, with the JROTC students. And that was a really unique experience. We get to do so many unique experiences here in Hillsborough County. That was my first time, and it was quite a few ROTC students, and it was just amazing. But I wasn't going to say anything, but I just have to say, the other day I was at McFarland Park, and there was this young man who last year he got in third place for the Tropicana speech, but then this year he cried when he won, and I didn't plan on saying it in his school, but it was really just amazing because his mom is the head custodian at Freedom, and I just have to read his speech, and I know his would be so much better than mine, but it's called SOS Teachers. Okay. Teachers are the backbone of our community, but they are in danger if we do not act quickly. We're facing a big problem, the crisis of teachers. I'm Marcos, a 5th grader concerned for the future of education. I'll explain 3 reasons why I think teachers are leaving the educational system and how I can help solve this problem. First of all, teachers are not well paid. The responsibilities and the time spent in and out of the classroom do not match the salary. They spend lots of time preparing, grading, and planning the lessons for the students. Also, they need to be current with educational requirement. Teachers are important to our community, and they deserve to be paid well. If we want a strong community, we need better salaries for our teachers. We need to talk to our local and state government to make sure teachers get paid what they deserve. Secondly, teachers are quitting because of an increase in bad behavior of students. The bad actions of students do not allow for proper teaching. The classrooms with many students gets difficult to teach when disrupted by wrong behaviors. We've seen an increase in disrespectful acts towards teachers. It needs to stop. It needs to stop. I propose to engage the parents to talk to their child to promote respect and appreciation towards our teachers. Finally, teachers are overwhelmed by the lack of funds for the schools. It's difficult to prepare and plan lessons accordingly. Many of them buy materials with their own money to get the job done. The duty of our teachers is simple, to teach us. Therefore, I suggest to keep supporting the PTA, exercise our vote, and recycle our school materials like textbooks and workbooks to reduce expenses. We need and love our teachers. Our future is in their hands. Let's save and protect them. It's simple math. No teachers equal not a strong community. Ayudemos a nuestros maestros. That means let's help our teachers. Go teachers. So hope you guys have a great spring break. And it was amazing because he was so resilient and he came in first place. And it was so awesome to see him like cry. And hopefully, I can't wait to see these final Tropicana speeches. Thank you and hope you guys have a great spring break.
Thank you, Member Combs. I'll try to be brief too. I know we're all anxious to start our spring break at the end of the week. I just want to remind everyone, if there's something, I know I do it too, sometimes talk about from the dais, something I'd like to see a workshop, but if you're interested in one, please make sure you submit the form through our secretaries. Saying it from the dais doesn't get us where we need to be. So if you have a request for the workshop, please make sure you submit the form. I am curious about the book as well because I flagged that book last year and it was only in our high schools. And I really do think that there's a mistake in our system. I seriously doubt that within that time most of our elementary schools would get that. I do think that we should give our media specialists the benefit of the doubt, let them know, see if there's a system error, and a part of our process is first allowing media specialists to remove books at their own discrepancy. So if by any reason, which again, I seriously doubt this is in our elementary schools, then I would like to give them the opportunity to remove those before it even has to come to a book challenge. That's what we would do if we were parents, and that's what I would like the board to do and see what's going on. But I do think that it's an issue with our system, but I do think it's a problem, right? The whole point is that we want transparency and we want to know what's in our schools, so we do need to address it, but I would like to give the benefit of the doubt to our media specialists around that book. Also, this isn't aimed at anyone directly, but I would just ask for all of the board members up here, and everybody does a good job most of the time, but just to speak to each other with kindness. I know that we often disagree about things and we get heated about things, but if we could just, and it's hard for me, but keep our sarcasm a little bit to ourselves and just be polite to each other up here. The other thing, a positive thing. Oh, and I do want to talk about the ESC, but you and I have already started to speak about that, so I'd like to continue that conversation. I know we're playing phone tag, Miss Brown, so I agree with my fellow board members, and I'd like to continue to have a conversation about that. We've already talked about it off the dais, but I want to continue that. I had the pleasure of going incredibly early in the morning this weekend to the 7th annual New Tampa Run Race. Thought of you, Member Gray, as I saw all the excited racers lining up. And I got to say on your mark, get set, get ready, go. That happened at Hunter's Green. That came out early at 5 o'clock in the morning to set up that event at their school. Turner's Bartell also participated in that. I want to say a special thank you to Allie Wilbur. She's always just advocating like a force of nature out there for Turner Bartels in New Tampa. So that was really fun, even ridiculously early in the morning. And then finally, I just want to say, echo happy spring break. Thank you so much to every single person who are in our schools supporting our kids for all of your hard work. Whether, we've always talked about our support staff, whether it's cafeteria workers, our bus drivers, custodians, everyone. Member Perez does an amazing job for our mental health team. Everyone at the district, superintendent, fellow board members, like, thank you everyone for everything that gets invested into our education. And I just hope everyone uses the upcoming spring break to recharge and refresh and, you know, fill your buckets so that we can finish out the school year. And that's all I have. So thank you guys for being patient. And with that, this meeting's adjourned.